Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack complex source material, pull out those crucial nuggets of knowledge, and help you get really well informed fast. Today, we're plunging into some genuinely unsettling stuff, excerpts from The Red-Eyed Horror of Black Hollow Woods. And this isn't, your standard ghost story. It's this chilling account that really blurs the line between folklore and something, well, something terrifyingly real, all centered on an old farmhouse up in Vermont.
Exactly. And our focus today, our deep dive, is really about dissecting that narrative, looking closely at the details, the observations presented in the sources. We want to understand the progression of events, sure, but also what these accounts might suggest about the entity involved. Because you might think you know what a quote-unquote vampire is, but this story, it presents something far removed from popular myths, something quite different.
Okay, so let's get into it. This old farmhouse right on the edge of Black Hollow Woods in Vermont. The sources say this area, it had a reputation even before this story kicks off. What were the local whispers about this place?
Well, what's fascinating right from the start is how the setting itself is framed as inherently sinister. It's not just a backdrop. Locals called Black Hollow Woods cursed. They claim the woods themselves moved, that they swallowed people. And specifically, families moving into that farmhouse just vanished. Gone. So it sets this incredibly foreboding context before anything specific even happens with our main characters. The land itself feels like a threat.
Wow, okay, so into that setting steps. Ethan Clark. He's a documentary filmmaker. This is 2023. Not from Vermont, and importantly, a skeptic. Doesn't buy into folklore, wants to film rural horror legends. Almost sounds like he's asking for trouble. Yeah.
What
do his first journal entries show? What was his initial take?
Yeah, it's that classic setup, isn't it? The clash between skepticism and something else. His first entry, January 3rd, it's actually pretty upbeat.
Well,
he calls the farmhouse perfect for his film. The creaky floors, peeling wallpaper, the ancient cellar, all the atmosphere he wanted.
the perfect stage set.
Yeah, exactly. But then, just 3 nights later, January 6th, his whole tone shifts dramatically. He writes about hearing something outside, then seeing red, human height eyes watching him from the tree line.
Human height.
Human height. He tries to explain it away, says maybe a coyote, but then he immediately notes coyotes don't walk on 2 legs.
There it is.
Yeah. That's the first major crack in his rational worldview, a really crucial early sign that something deeply unnatural is going on. He's trying to rationalize, but the facts don't fit.
And that's where things really start to escalate, right? He puts up cameras, motion-activated ones. What do they actually capture? And what happened right after that?
The camera footage? Yeah, this gives us some of the most chilling, specific descriptions. You really feel the dread building here. At exactly 3:12 a.m., a figure emerges at the edge of the woods, and the description is just stark. Pale, gaunt, naked, unnaturally long arms ending in claws, sunken black pits for eyes, and a mouth stretched far too wide.
Oh, geez. That's uncanny valley territory.
Totally. It's human-shaped, but fundamentally wrong. That's what makes it so disturbing, I think. It's not just a monster, it's a distortion of the familial, and then the footage just cuts out, camera goes black.
Just stops.
Yep. And the very next night, Ethan finds a trail of blood leading from the edge of the forest straight to his cellar door.
A blood trail to the cellar. And he doesn't call the police. He keeps filming.
He keeps filming, which, as you said, seems incredibly reckless. Or maybe it's obsession, denial.
Or maybe he thinks he's finally capturing the legend he came for.
Perhaps. It speaks volumes about his mindset anyway, that journalistic drive maybe overriding self-preservation.
So what was in his final journal entry, and what did he actually find down in that cellar?
His final entry is dated January 9th. He describes forcing open the cellar door. Inside, he finds scratch marks all over the stone walls. And dozens of bones.
Dozens?
Dozens? Some animal, he notes, and then adds some.
Okay.
Yeah. That detail, some, not, combined with the dozens, it implies this wasn't a one-off event. This place, this cellar, has history. A horrifying one. And that's the last we hear from Ethan directly. His encounter seems to reach its climax right after that discovery.
So Ethan vanishes. What happens then? The sources bring in Callie Monroe, a local hiker, about a week later.
Right, Callie Monroe. And her account is crucial for understanding the immediate aftermath. She wasn't looking for trouble, just hiking. She stumbles upon the farmhouse and describes this overwhelming smell, copper and rot, just hanging in the air.
Yeah.
Inside, she sees blood smeared everywhere, handprints on the walls, and Ethan's camera, still on its tripod, still blinking, recording.
It was still on. What did it show?
It showed Ethan, eyes wide, clearly terrified, muttering to himself things like, "It comes through the roots, sleeps below, the blood wakes, and I let it in."
I let it in.
Yeah. And then suddenly, this horrible screech on the audio, something dark lunges towards the camera, and the screen just goes red.
So a fragmented glimpse of his final moments. Terrifying.
Incredibly visceral, yeah. Even incomplete, it paints a horrifying picture of speed and ferocity.
Kelly obviously runs, but the story says she didn't get away clean. What happened to her?
No, she didn't. And this is where we get some really disturbing details about the creature itself, its methods. She was found 2 days later, miles away, like 10 miles away, covered in blood, but it wasn't hers.
Not her blood. Whose then? Ethan's.
The sources don't specify, but the implication is chilling. She was rambling, incoherent, talking about the red-eyed man. Said he drinks the breath and crawls through walls.
Drinks the breath, not blood.
Drinks the breath. That specific phrasing is so unsettling. Suggests something more than just physical feeding, like draining life force itself. And the physical state she was found in, horrible. Missing fingernails, torn gums, and a bite mark on her neck described as deep with surgical precision.
Surgical precision, that's odd.
Absolutely creepy.
Extremely. It implies intent, maybe even a kind of intelligence, not just brute force. She ended up in a psychiatric ward, completely traumatized, and crawls through walls. What does that even mean? Like phasing.
It suggests something non-corporeal, doesn't it? Or maybe shape-shifting. It definitely moves it beyond just a physical monster hiding in the woods. Adds this layer of, like, inescapable dread. How do you protect yourself from something like that?
You probably don't. Okay, so the horror continues. 2 months pass, and another filmmaker shows up, Jake Harmon.
Right. Jake Harmon. He wants to investigate Ethan's disappearance, but he's clearly learned something from Ethan's fate.
How so?
He doesn't go near the house. He uses a drone. A much safer approach, you'd think.
Smart move. What did the drone see?
It confirmed the entity's continued presence, and maybe its awareness. The drone footage showed someone, described as pale with glowing red eyes, just standing in an upstairs window of the farmhouse, watching the drone.
Just watching.
Just standing there watching. That single image, that silent observation from the window was apparently enough. Jake turned the drone around immediately, packed his car, and left Vermont that very same night. Didn't look back.
Can't blame him. One look was enough.
Seems so. It suggests the creature isn't just some mindless beast. It's aware, it occupies the space, maybe even possesses it in some way.
So after all this, Ethan's footage, Callie's trauma, Jake's drone sighting, what exactly is this thing? The sources seem very specific about what it's not.
They are. And that's a key takeaway here. The sources deliberately try to redefine or maybe clarify what kind of horror we're dealing with. They state explicitly, not a vampire in the traditional sense. So forget the capes, the seduction, the sparkles, none of that.
Right, this isn't Dracula.
Not even close. This thing hunts, it feeds, and chillingly, it remembers the taste of Ethan's blood. That implies memory, persistence.
And combined with Callie's account.
Exactly. It feeds on breath, it moves through walls, it leaves surgically precise bites, it collects bones.
It sounds primal, predatory, and deeply tied to that specific place, that farmhouse.
Completely. It feels ancient, physical in a disturbing way, and utterly relentless. Tied to the roots, the foundation, like Ethan muttered. It bypasses those familiar horror tropes to create something I think more fundamentally unsettling. Less supernatural romance, more terrifying reality breach.
And the farmhouse? It's still there,
Right.
just rotting.
Still there, silent. With those claw marks on the cellar door mentioned in the sources, nobody's gone back.
Wow. Well, this deep dive into the red-eyed horror of Black Hollow Woods, it definitely makes you rethink what might be lurking out there, challenges our neat categories of monsters.
It really does, and it leaves you with some unsettling questions, doesn't it? Like, you know that line between curiosity, seeking knowledge, and just inviting absolute peril? When does investigation become provocation? How do we even tell the difference between a local legend and some horrible truth that remembers you?
Something to definitely think about next time you hear a strange noise in an old house.
And maybe just
Feel like you're being watched from the dark.